What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat Sleep Drive. I just got done washing my car here on this warm day, beautiful day here in Ohio. This is an M235i, and every time I talk to somebody about this car, they always bring up the M2. And it got me thinking while I was washing the car, and kind of got me thinking, what I generally tell people. And I just kind of wanted to share my experiences with the M235i and explain why I chose it over the M2. And there's three basically main reasons for that. So the first reason is this. This is my 2005 Lotus Elise. And the only reason that I can have this car is because I have an M235i and not an M2. So basically, the thing you have to really consider is the fact that the M2, while is basically pretty much new, you can find them used, but they haven't depreciated at all. They're super, super desirable. They're, if you ordered it and waited 6 months, which no one really wants to do, you're looking at around 55 grand. Now, the prices I've seen for even used ones is more than that. So I paid less than $30,000 for this car. So what does that mean? That means that I had at least $25,000 to spend on another car. So, and what can you buy for that? Well, you can buy a Lotus Elise, you can buy a Corvette, you could buy a 350Z, you could buy a lot of different cars. But the point I'm trying to make is don't get hung up on this specific car that I have in a lease, but just know that you can buy an M235i and another car for the same amount of money as an M2. So that's really the biggest reason that I chose the M235i, because I don't plan to track this car. I'll track my Lotus before I track this, and you got to have a lot of money to track an M2. Like if something were to happen and you don't have track insurance or something like that, that's a lot of money to put down the drain on a car like that. Now the second reason is because this car is only driven on the street, I wanted something that was a little more comfortable. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe I've got to that point in my life when I'm saying that I want a more comfortable car over a super stiff, super well handling car. But the M2 only comes with the fixed suspension. You cannot get the adaptive suspension even as an option on that car. Now this car does have the adaptive suspension, so you can go from comfort to sport. Now it doesn't get as sporty as the M2, of course, but it has that comfort level on the street that I was absolutely looking for in a car that's, just a daily driver that's fun to drive. Now the last reason that I chose the M235 over an M2 really goes back to that whole value equation. So when I look at a, basically $60,000 car that is the M2, and I look at roughly a $30,000 car, which is a slightly used M235i, I think, okay, well, is it double the car? Am I getting twice the enjoyment? Am I getting twice the satisfaction? Is it, not twice as fast, but, significantly faster? And to me, the answer is no. Now, I completely concede. Tick for tack, the M2 is a better car. Come on, like no one's gonna argue that, right? But this car is, I'm gonna say 90% of the way there. A lot of the things that these two cars are built with are shared. Now, certainly with the M2, you get the better front suspension that's taken from those M cars. And then the big elephant in the room, which I will absolutely admit, is the LSD that is in the M2 but absent in this car. That is my biggest and pretty much only complaint of this car, is that it doesn't have a limited slip. But you can buy a fully loaded pumpkin from BMW with an LSD in it for $2,000. So $2 grand, which I plan to do, put an LSD in here, and for a little over $30,000, which is half the cost of an M2, I have 90% of the car. And like I said, for street driving, it's just really hard to beat. Now, if you are a track junkie and you're absolutely 100% going to be taking your car to the track all the time, sure, the M2 has more cooling. Even though they both have the N55 engine, the one in the M2 is a little bit modified, more for track abuse, I'll say. But at the end of the day, I'm super happy with this purchase. I've owned it for a couple months. I have no regrets over buying it over an M2. And I just thought I wanted to share that with you guys. If some of you are considering cross-shopping the two, check out the M235i. Ridiculous deal on the used market right now. Super tunable and fun to drive. You know, it really goes back to what BMW is good at. So I hope you found this video helpful, guys. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And I'm going to be doing a full review on the M235i within the coming weeks here. So if you are interested in this car, stick around for that, and we'll see you next time.